Okay, this is going to be pretty funny. I'm Victoria, and I have been thinking about a YouTube channel for the longest time. So many of my friends have said to me, "Wow, you've become an expert at this health issues that I've had for 30 plus years, histamine intolerance, and many other things that are related to histamine intolerance." And so I decided to start thinking about this. And so I did a lot of research on YouTube. And one of the things that I read was, write down all the things that you could talk about on YouTube. Okay, so I did that. Look at this. I filled up an entire whiteboard of things that I could talk about. I'm 62. I was born in 1963. I was born the year that John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So I've lived through a lot of things. I heard a funny YouTube video the other day where the person was saying like all the things that the women in our generation have lived through, right? So I am technically a boomer, born in 1963. The boomer age ends at 64, but I really relate to Gen X. That's my era. All the things that I see about Gen X, that's who I relate to. I was that kid out playing until after dark. And, when the street lights came on, that's when I came in. I'm from the era of the Twilight Zone and, watching the news or watching an episode every week. That's me. And one of the things that I find fascinating when I'm watching YouTube videos is how people translate that, how they take all of the things they've learned about in their life and they make it interesting for other people and normalize it for other people. So what are some of the things that I've lived through that I want to share and I want to talk about? For a very, very long time, I've lived with what I have thought about as histamine intolerance. So it started for me in my 30s. I became allergic to alcohol. I could drink up until I was about, roughly 35. And then I started having really, really awful bad reactions. And I had to stop drinking. I'll probably share about that in the future. Fast forward to now when I'm 62, I can't drink at all. I go into anaphylactic shock if there's any alcohol in my food. I carry an EpiPen. Vinegar has become a problem for me. All sorts of other food have become a problem for me. And when this first started happening for me when I was in my 30s, I felt like I was very rare, that I was kind of the canary in the coal mine. That's not the case now. So I will also say I'm American. I live in California. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I do live in kind of a groovy place, but it doesn't matter where I go in the world now, there's a lot of people like me. So I think this has been happening for a long time and people just handled it themselves. And now there's a lot of information out there in the world, how it's diagnosed, how you recognize it in yourself, how it's very, very personal. Every single person is different, how it's hard to get the medical community to pay attention to you when you're in this situation. So I'm sure I'll do a lot on this, but that is, kind of one of the things that I would like to talk about. And I'm intentionally giving you me unfiltered, right? I have no makeup on except for my eyebrows. I hate to move through the world without eyebrows and earrings. That's just part of me. I have rosacea. I have actually pretty good skin. But one of the reasons I have fairly good skin is because I can hardly eat anything. I eat very, very cleanly. I also have to do a lot of, to be able to just feel good on a regular basis, I have to do a lot of things that help your skin to look good. So I eat a very slim amount of food. It's not, I I do this because I react to food. I'm not reducing food. I'm not on a food reduction plan. Just want to be super clear about that. I've never had, me personally, I know this happens to a lot of women. I have not had, uh, I've never been bulimic. I've never been anorexic. I have not had food issues from that perspective. But what has happened to me over the years, starting again, kind of in my 30s, is I've had to really think about food differently. I struggled with it for a lot of years while I was raising kids. Now I'm in my 60s. I've learned to be comfortable with it a little bit more, not a lot. I'm just saying that. I have struggled with the medical community, recognizing that this is an actual issue. It's been very, very big struggle for me over the years. So that has been, that's me. That's part of me. Another thing that is part of me is that I had my kids late. I had my first child at 38, my second child at 41. That was an intentional choice for me. But there's a lot that goes with that, having your kids later. So that's a whole thing I'm sure a lot of women will be able to relate to. Another thing that happened to me, because I am a, baby boomer, Gen X, I had my kids late, which a lot of women in my age range did. But because of that, I was raising teenagers and also caretaking my parents as they were coming to the end of their life. And that is a really interesting scenario for a lot of women. It was basically a decade of my life that was really hard. My health issues were happening. My personal health issues were happening. My kids were growing up. I have a really great partner, so we had a strong relationship in raising our kids together. That made it very easy. Not easy, let me not say that. It didn't make it easy from the perspective of raising kids. We had all the normal challenges of raising kids, but I didn't struggle to do it on my own. I've always had a partner to raise my kids. But what did happen as my kids were going through their high school years and into college is that I was very heavily impacted with caretaking for my own parents. And another sort of, sideline that I think some people are going to be able to relate to is my mother was schizophrenic, medically controlled schizophrenia, which for most of her life, it was a challenge for us as her children, but it was better than it could have been if it was not medically controlled. She did live to be into her 80s, which is really unusual for someone that lives with schizophrenia, and it's because her disease was medically controlled, and she had a lot of support from her children over the years. So that's a whole nother storyline. So I was raising children. I was dealing with my own health issues, caretaking parents. Just generally speaking, that's rough, but caretaking a parent that struggles with mental health issues is a whole nother ball of wax. Another area that I think would be interesting to a lot of women is I met this amazing group of women when I was in college, which was many, many years ago now, and we have remained friends for over 40 years. And so the journey of that, meeting someone when I was 19, 20, 21, through my sort of mid-20s, and staying friends with them, very, very close friends, and supporting each other all our lives through that time. In the last several years, something that's happened to me is starting in, 2021, 22, 23, I was really heavily in caretaking mode with my mom. My sister was caretaking with my dad. He needed a lot less help, but that period of time going into that really heavy caretaking mode. And then for me, what that resulted in was 5 people in my life passed away in a 15-month period. So when you think about that, that's 1 year and 3 months. And I lost 5 people, 5 human beings that were really important to me, which makes me cry every time I say that. So that's a hard one. I'm sure I'll talk more about that. Yeah, so anyway, that's me. The last many years, I didn't even mention living through a global pandemic, right? So, yeah. It's been a lot. But I guess the thing that I want to say also is that women are amazing, right? We have so many decades in our lives that are power decades, right? We're uncertain in our teen years. We're gaining confidence in our 20s. We become ourselves in our 30s. And our 40s are our power years. We're beautiful. We're energetic. We're amazing human beings. We're taking care of ourselves. We're taking care of our kids. We're taking care of our parents. And we learn a lot about ourselves. And then in our 50s, we really become ourselves. Like, we just have so much to offer. And then for me, I think in my 60s, what I'm really realizing is that it's an okay time to let go of that piece of caretaking that I've done for so long, and focus more on myself and my partner and my family and what's important to me and what's going to happen for me in the next several decades. And I hope I have several decades, but I'm not going to count on that. And this video is the start of really focusing on what life looks like for the time that I have left. And that can sound really depressing, but to me, it's not depressing. To me, what it is really looking at this world and this one perfect life that I have and making sure that I don't look back when I am in the final season of my life and the final moments of my life. I don't look back and wish. I want to have done every single thing that I could have done. And this is the start. Thank you for listening.